guys, today I'm gonna make the most delicious condiment I've ever tried. If you like lemons and you like garlic and you like sort of mayonnaise, I actually don't like mayonnaise at all, but this is amazing. I will use this forever in place of, you can make aiolis out of this, you can do all kinds of stuff. It lasts for a very long time. I've heard up to 3 or 4 months in the fridge, but trust me when I tell you this, it will never last that long in your fridge because you will want to eat it on everything. It is delicious. Anyway, you're gonna need, to make the size recipe I'm gonna do today, you need a cup of peeled garlic, and we'll go into, there's some additional preparation that needs to be done with the garlic for the best tasting Toum. And if you can see over there, Toum is spelled T-O-U-M. We're gonna use 2 teaspoons of salt, 3 cups of neutral oil, and a half cup of lemon juice. I'm gonna go ahead and peel a cup's worth of garlic, and then I'll show you guys what we need to do with the garlic once it's peeled and the stems are cut off. All right, so I'm actually using the literal worst kind of garlic to make Toum with, but I don't have much of a choice because this is all leftover seed garlic from a little skinny garden patch I planted with some garlic. So what we're gonna do here with this garlic is we're gonna cut it in half, or I am, and carefully, so as not to cut my fingers off, pry out the garlic germ here. Got to get it all. It's this whole little bit right here. And if you use fresh garlic, and I mean very fresh garlic, you don't have to do this. So I just come through and pluck out this little bit right here. That is an especially bitter part of the garlic, and I try to get it all out. So it is a little labor intensive, and the older the garlic, the more bitter your Toum is probably going to be. I wasn't raised with this, so if this has been part of your diet your whole life, or for long enough to know right from wrong, you're probably at home screaming right now saying don't eat it, that's disgusting. But my underprivileged palate wouldn't really know the difference, because this is only the second time I've made this. But again, I'm trying to use up stuff that may otherwise go bad. All right, so I've got about a cup of peeled garlic in here. I don't know if you can see very well, but they've all been de-germed. And, you know, garlic's real sticky. It's like, I gotta stop now and go wash my hands. But I have this little pile of little bit of germ here. And then I have a little bit of leftover. I don't think it's enough for another batch of Toum, but I probably will make another batch of Toum. It's that good. I actually want to give it to some of my coworkers that enjoy garlic as much as I do, because I think it'll be a game changer for them. Yeah, so I'm going to clean up this mess, and I'm going to put a little salt in here. Now I'm actually using a NutriBlender to blend this. I'm going to do the emulsification inside of this Oster blender. I have a really, really terrible food processor that is really a food ruiner because it just doesn't work. It was the biggest waste of money ever, and I do regret it. But I am able to emulsify this stuff in this Oster blender, and it's a terrible blender. But for this, it works pretty good. Once the garlic and the salt is a nice pasty mixture in here, I'll use a little spatula to transfer it into here. All right, so it's getting there. This didn't do near as good of a job as I thought it would, but I guess it got a good start. So I'll get it into the blender. None of these are perfect. You really need a good food processor for this, guys. This is not a tutorial. This should be the what not to do when you make Toum. But hopefully we have a successful mayonnaise-like texture once we're done. So I'm going to scrape this little blender cup really well into my Oster blender here, and see if we can get it where it needs to be texture wise in the regular blender. It just was a real pain to try and get it to the pasty mixture it needs to be by putting it in the blender. And maybe next time I'll just use a mortar and pestle and salt, because it doesn't take long, I guess. Even though I have a pretty small mortar and pestle, it doesn't take too awful long to get it down to a nice pasty pulp. I don't know why I keep talking like this is a tutorial. It's not. It's not a tutorial. So let me adjust this little GoPro. All right, well, I guess it's time to buzz this up in the blender, and I'll try to figure out how to plug this in and film it, because the lights in my kitchen are so terrible. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on camera. I'm going to try and find an extension cord, though. Maybe that'll help. So I'm going to squeeze up a bunch of lemons here. And then once I'm done, I'll strain these. I'll get most of the bits out. Not strain it completely, but strain most of it. All right, so this is like the worst place to try and do this. But right now I'm just gonna show you how kind of it gets started. Right now I put just I don't know, maybe a tablespoon at most of the lemon juice in here. Just to kind of wet it a little more. Plus I let the garlic sit with the salt for a minute, and that'll kind of pull moisture out of it. So I'm gonna make this, this is probably good. Because once it starts going with the oil and stuff, it should start making more contact with the blades. And then it'll get to a point where it's too big and fluffy. And at that point, it probably will not be an issue, or it'll stop mixing. I don't know. I don't really know which. Let me see how I'm going to do this. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work quite like I want it to. I'm going to do a quick little stir here, because I feel like it's starting to get real thick at the bottom, but not much else. All right, here we are. It's fantastic. You can enjoy it right now. But having said that, it really needs to go into the fridge. So anyway, I'm going to transfer this into this glass dish. It's a pie pan, but then I'm going to cover it with paper towels, and I'll show you guys. And that's because the paper towels will wick away any moisture that doesn't belong in there, and also absorb some unincorporated oil. All right, so Toum is in. I'm gonna take probably 2 layers of paper towel, lay it over the top, nice and snug to the surface, and trust me, it will not pull your Toum out. In the morning when I pull this off, it'll come away clean and have little dimples. It'll have the designs of the paper towel imprinted in the top of this. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and slowly come around the pie plate. I don't wanna like warp the surface or deform it too much. I just kind of want it to make nice contact with the Toum on the inside. So I'm gonna gently, the way kind of you would encourage a pie crust to lay down in the pan, the pie pan, pie plate, which this is. I'm gonna kind of tuck the towel in so it starts to like form like the shape of the, yeah, like a shallow pie crust here, made out of paper towels. Anyway, so this beautiful mess is going into the fridge here, and when it's done in the morning, I will peel back this paper towel and show you guys how amazing and delicious this is. All right, so it's the next day, And as you can see, there's quite a bit of moisture on top of our Toum. So I'm just gonna pull it back. And as you can see, it comes away cleanly. There's no globs stuck to the Toum. And like I was telling you, there's little imprints of the paper towel texture in the top of the Toum. So to show you what it looks like, look at that. It is really spectacular. The texture is really nice. It looks grainy and like it might be lumpy, but if you were to try it, it's very early, but I just put some in my mouth. It's like super creamy. It's like super, super creamy. Has like a nice mouthfeel because it's, you know, full of oil. It's like whipped oil, so it does taste amazing. It's a little early for this. It doesn't go well with toothpaste, but it's still delicious at any time of the day. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all packaged up so that we can eat the heck out of it as often as we want. All right, so it's all in the jar. As you can see, it's really thick. Like I've tapped this considerably, and that's about as good as it's gonna get without me like messing with it a whole lot. Honestly, it doesn't have to be pretty or perfect in there. But you can see it's not at all like loose. It's very thick. Whatever shape it was when it plopped in the jar, it pretty much stayed there. So that recipe made enough to fill a 32-ounce jar and is lovely. It's lovely. I just, yeah, I highly recommend it. That's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully you want to make some Toum too. It is yummy.